Hi guys, I'm Andy, welcome back to Scottish Dream Productions and the video. It's layout update day, about time, and there's quite a bit to talk about, so let's get started. So, first things first, what is the main thing, well, two main things that I've been working on. If you can't see it already, you need glasses or I need to up the quality of my YouTube videos. So the first thing I've done is obviously the board that used to run across the front is now gone. Why have I done this? Well, my father came around and he explained that he was having struggles getting a good eyes-on view of the action of the layout without bending down and cracking his back in the process. So I took it off, and not only has it massively improved my access to the layout, it's improved the visibility and it's improved the structural integrity. How's it done that? Well, it's over here now in pieces. Why have I done this? Well, these boards are quite flimsy. So when I added the controller to this panel, it started to droop and sort of lean down that way. So I've lifted it back up. I've added these structural supports and now it's fantastic. That little top bit there is going to get cut off and the whole thing's going to get tidied up. The only thing I'm worried about is that giant crack, because this layout is probably made out of the softest foam type wood I have ever seen. I mean, if you look at this, it almost looks like fiber. It doesn't look like real wood, it looks synthetic. I don't know if you can see all this white stuff here. That's a lot of glue that is seeped all the way between the boards. That is blurry. All the way between this board and the main scenic part of layout to ensure that no matter what, they are not going to come apart in the years to come. The glue I've used for this and the glue I've used for many previous layouts is this stuff. Bondit Glues and Adhesives Contractors Grade PVA is absolutely amazing. When this stuff dries, it's like goddamn plastic. Perfect example of this will be this little blob here. Solid as plastic. Filled in a bit more glue along the middle because, like I said, I want this to be the strongest layout possible and make sure that nothing's going to break down the years of the line. So if you want a good glue for your layout, get this stuff. You can get it in 1 litre, 2 litre, all the way up to, I think, 10 litre jugs of this stuff. It's absolutely incredible. I believe this cost me something like 5-6 quid. It lasts me months. It's even lasted me a full year at one point. This stuff is fantastic. It dries pretty quick as well, depending on how much you use and how thick or thin you apply it. It's really good stuff. I highly recommend this. Go get it. So now that you've seen what I've recycled the frame into, let's move on to the next thing that I've been working on, the platform. Now you will see that I've painted a bit more of the platform and I've also put down, well, the rest of it. Why have I done this? Well, I didn't like looking at a unfinished product. I really hated it. So I put the last part of the platform down. It's now glued in place. It's not going anywhere. It's nice and structurally sound. I also got a small piece of one of these concrete edges. This was one of the ramps. I don't know if you can see around the side. It's literally just a chunk of a ramp that I've cut up. That's going to get painted, and then the whole thing is going to get painted as well. But why is it two different colours? Well, two words. Parcel tape. Now, in constructing the platform, I noticed that the cardboard had left some rather large gaps and cracks between the edge and the surface. So what I did was I ran some tape along the edge as close to the edging as I could, and then I painted it over and I put a thin layer of PVA along the edges. As you can see, I've still got a bit more to do to fill in the cracks. And then when it dried a darker colour than the actual cardboard itself. So the plan is to cover the platform in the tape. It'll improve the strength of it, it'll keep it all the same colour, and it'll even add these nice little cracks here. Because if we know one thing about concrete platforms is that they constantly crack in the constant change of weather we have over here in Britain. And with this layout being based in Scotland, it's going to be very change of weather constantly. So the concrete's going to go under a lot of stress, so it will crack. And I believe the tape will give that effect perfectly. Now, why did I put that there when I had plans to build a bridge there? Now, you see, I was talking to a few model friends online. I told them about the problem I've got, and then they suggested this. Now, they suggested that instead of a brick or stone arch bridge with a pillar there, they suggested I do a steel girder bridge going across, a support beam there, and then the stairs coming down onto the platform. So that's what the plan is going to be for that. When I'll get it done, when I'll get the supplies for it, when I'll get the patience to scratch build the footbridge, I have not a slightest didgeridoo in the world. But that's what's going to happen. It's going to be a girder bridge across the front. Not only will that take up a lot less space, but it'll make access to the platform a bit easier when it comes to building the footbridge. And it'll just mean that I can add more stuff scenery-wise, and it won't make it, as difficult to model, build, paint, add scenery to, details, figures. You get the gist. So now that that headache is out of the way, let's move to what has been the bane of my existence for this layout update. The point rods. Oh boy, this is a story and a half. So as you would have seen in the little intro video I did with the trains running, I now have the points linked up and working to a couple of hooks just behind the back seam. Now, anyone who's done this knows that it's easy, because the stuff I've used this brass tubing, 1.8mm on the outside, 1.6mm on the inside. And then for the rod itself, I've just used this nice little 1mm brass rod. So the tubes help keep it straight, and the rod connects the points to the hook at the back. So when I pull it, both points move at the same time. Now, was this easy? For the experienced modeler who's done this before, yes, perfectly easy. For me, nope. So why did I make it 10 times harder than myself? Well, I didn't do it intentionally, but here's what I did. Now, nearly 100% of points, apart from the odd one or two, have these little plastic nubs on the end for rods to grab onto, point motors, anything. Or there's a little hole in the middle there. Now, for the experienced modeler, example, not me, you just drill a simple hole through there, put the rod through, bit of glue, maybe a bit of solder, and you're sorted, you're golden, you're good. However, I didn't do that. I melted them off with the soldering iron, and then I proceeded to glue them on, which didn't work, so there is now a small piece of brass facing upwards in there, and then I've soldered it to this rod, same that, excuse me, I've done the same there, and I've done the same there, so there is now small bits of brass rod in there, and I've soldered them to the rod that moves. I then glued it, I then resoldered it, and then I glued it again. So if any of those buggers come undone, I am going to get a sledgehammer and annihilate them and then completely rebuild the layout for a third time, because that was ridiculous how annoying that was. This one was much easier, much simpler, because it's just straight. This one was annoying because it's on a slight curve. So if you look, this point is straight, then it curves, that's straight, then it curves, that's straight, and then it curves. So it's all under a bit of curve tension. And if you look at the amount of space inside the brass tube where the rod is, there is no space at all for it to curve or for it to flex to accommodate for, the sudden, change in direction. It's very solid, so it's actually quite stiff to move. You actually have to put quite a bit of force in it compared to this, or I just put the smallest bit and it just flicks. Is that going to cause issues down the line? Maybe, but I'll deal with it when I get to it. But for now, it works absolutely swimmingly, and I couldn't be happier. Now you would have also noticed these little orange things under the track. Now, I see these all over the network, and I imagine they're for carrying signal cabling under the tracks to the other side, maybe to get to point motors or signals or thereabouts. That's pretty much exactly what it is. It's just some orange wire that I've cut, put under the sleepers, glued, and it's going to represent some under track cabling going on when I add the cable trunking along there. It's going to be some relay boxes as well, and there's also going to be a signal there. Now in regards to the signal, I'm a bit on a tipping point again, similar to this. I don't know whether to keep the T-frame signals, the aspects, which is a kit, which is really going to challenge my kit building abilities. I don't know whether to go for the Train Tech aspect signals, the automatic ones. I don't know whether to go for some Burco signals that seem pretty good, or I don't know whether to go for the Dapol semaphores, because if you think about it, this is based on a small branch line in Scotland between 1994 and 2004, so semaphores would have very much still been a thing. They were very much still a thing now in some parts of the national network. So I will get to that when I need to get to that. For now, I'm not going to worry about it. The track all works, the points work, it's great. Now in regards to the previous video where I talked about I need help for this part here, I decided I'm going to do a wall because, well, that's what my dad suggested. He came in, I told him whether I don't know whether to do an embankment or a wall, and he said a wall. It would work, you could add more to it, it wouldn't be as difficult to make. There's plenty of resources out there, plenty of ready-made sheets of like brick wall and stuff like that. Really easy to do. So I said, you know what, sod it, yeah, I'll do that. So there's going to be a retaining wall, a little footpath that will curve into sight here, just run directly along, and then probably about here it'll curve off because obviously there'll be a gigantic bridge pillar there. Now unfortunately that won't be done for a while because first I have to focus on painting the rest of the station, and then I'm going to ballast the track up to here, and same there, and then I'm going to ballast that way. Why am I excluding the points? Well, purely because of the signal. Until I know what signal is going there or there, I don't know where it's going to go, I am not going to ballast any of this area here between the points. Because if I do that and then I decide, okay, I want to put this signal here and I've got to chop away some of the ballast, you've seen how much I've been struggling to get this ballast up, which was with PVA glue and water. Yeah, that stuff is stronger than when I did the ballast on Silson Steam Railway, and that was using poly cement. So, God forbid I have to chisel this up on cardboard, when chiseling this up on wood actually took up some wood. I'm going to put a massive hole in the layout if I try to dig up some ballast. So I'm going to leave that until I decide what signal I'm going to use. And then once that's done, I'm going to start work on this area over here. Now it is going to have to be raised ever so slightly to cover up these gigantic pipes. Now I don't know whether to do a field, I don't know whether to put a signal box in there with like a road coming in. One thing I do know is that this area will more than likely be the easiest part of the whole flipping layout, which I am very happy about. This layout itself being small, not even 1.5 meters of scenery, is still quite a challenge for me because this is a high quality layout for shows that I am planning. It needs to meet exhibition standards. There's also going to be lights. I'm going to put the TARDIS in there that I still have in a little box of magic over there somewhere. There's going to be some nice lamps on here that I'm going to get painted into a little ScotRail blue and grey. I'm also going to add a fence here similar to the one at Preston Station that stops people from going down the ramp. And I've also got to add some yellow do not cross lines. I don't know if the yellow lines were there back in 1994 to 2004. I imagine they were, but I'm still going to do my research and make sure they are before I do anything. So that's really it, guys. I thank you for everything. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the support on the video where I called out for help. This layout is nowhere near done, obviously, idiot. But I still intend on working on it. My writer's block or modeler's block, whatever you call it, is pretty much gone. So I'm going to keep working on this. You will see another layout update in the next couple months or so. But until then, thank you so much for watching this video, guys. If you liked it, leave a like and a good comment. If you didn't like it, leave a dislike and a bad comment. And as always, guys, I will see you in the next video and see you later. Bye for now.